Marry not only me, but my sister too. The offer of the Elaine Queen. I couldn't believe my eyes. Ambassador Marcus Chen stepped into the crystalline throne room and felt his breath catch in his throat. The walls sparkled like diamonds, each surface reflecting light and patterns that seemed to dance and shift. He had visited many alien worlds during his diplomatic career, but nothing had prepared him for the beauty of the Elaine homeworld. The queen sat on her throne made of living crystal that pulsed with soft blue light. Her insectoid form was elegant in a way that surprised Marcus. Her 6 arms moved with graceful precision, and her compound eyes caught the light like jewels. Standing beside her was another figure, slightly smaller but equally regal. This had to be the High Priestess, the Queen's sister, Ambassador Chen. The Queen spoke through her translation device, her voice carrying musical tones that somehow made the mechanical words sound beautiful. "We welcome you to our world." Marcus bowed deeply, following the protocol he had studied during his 3-month journey to reach this distant star system. "Your Majesty, I am honored to be here. The Earth government sends its respect and hopes for peaceful relations between our peoples." The Queen's antennae twitched, and Marcus wondered if this was a sign of emotion. He had learned that the Elaine species communicated as much through physical gestures as through words. "Ambassador, we have called you here for a matter of great importance," the Queen continued. "Our species faces a crisis that threatens our very existence." Marcus felt his diplomatic training kick in. This was why he was here. For months, Earth's intelligence networks had picked up strange signals from Elaine space. Trade routes that had been stable for decades suddenly showed disruptions. The Elaine, who controlled some of the most important hyperspace jump points in the galaxy, had become increasingly isolated. "How may humanity assist your people?" "Your Majesty," Marcus asked carefully. The High Priestess stepped forward, her movements fluid despite her alien form. "Ambassador, what we are about to tell you must remain between us until we find a solution." Marcus nodded. "You have my word." The Queen rose from her throne, and Marcus was struck by how tall she was, even with her slightly hunched posture. She towered over him. "Our species is dying, Ambassador. Not from war or disease, but from something far more dangerous. Our genetic diversity has become too narrow. Our children are born weaker with each generation." Marcus felt a chill run down his spine. He had heard of genetic bottlenecks before, but never in an advanced spacefaring species. "How long do you have?" "Perhaps 50 years before we can no longer produce healthy offspring," the High Priestess said quietly. "We have tried everything our science can offer. We have consulted with the greatest minds in the galaxy. Nothing has worked." The Queen walked closer to Marcus, her footsteps making soft clicking sounds on the crystal floor. "But then our researchers made a discovery, a possibility we had never considered." "What kind of discovery?" Marcus asked, though he had a feeling he might not like the answer. "We tested genetic samples from all known spacefaring species," the Queen explained. "We hope to find some way to strengthen our bloodlines without losing what makes us Elaine." Most species were completely incompatible, as expected. Marcus waited, sensing that something important was coming. "But humans," the High Priestess continued, "humans were different. Your genetic structure has something unique, something that could help us." The Queen stopped directly in front of Marcus, her compound eyes studying his face. "Ambassador Chen, we have a proposal that will save our species and create the strongest alliance the galaxy has ever seen." Marcus felt his heart rate increase. "What kind of proposal?" "We want you to marry both of us," the Queen said simply. For a moment, Marcus was sure he had heard wrong. The translation device must have malfunctioned. "I'm sorry, could you repeat?" "That marriage, Ambassador, a ceremonial bond between you and both myself and my sister. It is the only way to save our people." Marcus stared at the 2 alien royals, his mind racing. This was not what he had expected when he accepted this diplomatic mission. He had come prepared to discuss trade agreements, maybe territorial boundaries. Not this. "Your Majesty, I don't understand. How would marriage help your genetic crisis?" The High Priestess gestured toward a section of the wall which suddenly became transparent, revealing a vast laboratory beyond. Our reproduction requires a specific ceremony, ambassador, a bonding that involves both the queen and the high priestess. It is how our species has survived for millions of years. But I'm human, Marcus said, still struggling to process what he was hearing. How could this possibly work? Our scientists have discovered that human genetic markers can be integrated with ours. Through the bonding ceremony, the queen explained. It would not change you physically, but it would allow us to strengthen our bloodlines. Your children would be fully human, but the genetic link would help our people produce stronger offspring. Marcus felt like the room was spinning. My children, the ceremony would create a spiritual bond, not a physical one, the high priestess said quickly. You would remain human, return to Earth when you choose, but the genetic link would remain, helping our species for generations to come. The queen moved to a viewing window that showed the sprawling crystal city beyond. Ambassador, we know this is unusual. No alliance like this has ever been proposed between species. But we are desperate. Marcus looked around the throne room, noting details he had missed before. The crystal walls weren't just beautiful. They were covered in writing, symbols that seemed to tell stories of the Elaine people. How many generations had ruled from this room? How many would never get the chance if this crisis wasn't solved? Why me specifically? Marcus asked. Surely there are other humans who might be better suited for this. Our research showed that diplomatic personnel have the highest compatibility rates, the Queen explained. Something about the mental flexibility required for your job. And you, Ambassador, tested highest of all. The High Priestess approached Marcus, her movements careful and non-threatening. We understand this is overwhelming. We are asking you to make a choice that will affect both our species. Marcus looked at the two royal figures before him. Despite their alien appearance, he could see something very human in their posture. Desperation, hope, fear. I need time to think, Marcus said finally, and I need to contact my government. Of course, the Queen said. But Ambassador, time is something we have very little of. Other powers in the galaxy have noticed our weakness. They circle like predators, waiting for us to fall. Marcus felt the weight of the decision settling on his shoulders. This wasn't just about marriage or even about saving the Elaine species. This was about the future of galactic politics, about humanity's place among the stars. I will give you an answer, he promised, but I need to understand exactly what this would mean for both our peoples. The Queen nodded, her antennae moving in what Marcus was beginning to recognize as a gesture of gratitude. We will provide you with all the information you need, Ambassador. The fate of our species rests in your hands. As Marcus was escorted to his quarters, he couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would change everything, not just for him, but for all of humanity. The question was he ready for that responsibility? Marcus sat in his assigned quarters, staring at the holographic display that showed Earth floating in space. The communication delay between this distant world and home was nearly 6 hours, which meant any conversation with his superiors would take half a day just to get a response. He had been on the Elaine homeworld for 3 days now, and each day brought new revelations that made his head spin. The marriage proposal was just the beginning. The real complexity lay in understanding what it actually meant. Dr. Sarah Kim, Earth's leading xenobiologist, appeared on his personal communicator. She had been transmitted to the ship in digital form specifically for this mission. Marcus, I've been reviewing the genetic data the Elaine scientists provided. This is incredible. Incredible good or incredible bad? Marcus asked, rubbing his tired eyes. Both, Dr. Kim replied. The Elaine reproduction cycle is unlike anything we've seen. They don't just mate and produce offspring. Their entire species is connected through something they call the life web. When new children are born, they inherit memories and abilities from the entire community. Marcus leaned forward. So when they say the Queen and High Priestess both need to be involved, it's because they represent different aspects of their society. Dr. Kim explained. The Queen carries the memories of leadership and decision-making. The High Priestess carries the spiritual and cultural knowledge. Without both, their children are born incomplete. But how do I fit into this? Marcus asked. Dr. Kim's expression grew serious. That's where it gets complicated. Human DNA is something the Elaine call adaptive flexibility. Our genetic code can interface with their life web without being absorbed by it. We could provide the diversity they need while maintaining our own identity. Marcus walked to the window of his quarters. Outside, he could see the Elaine city stretching to the horizon. The crystal buildings pulsed with soft light, creating patterns that seemed to breathe. What aren't you telling me, Sarah? The process would create a permanent genetic link between you and their species, she said quietly, not just with the queen and high priestess, but with their entire population. You would become a bridge between humanity and the Elaine. Before Marcus could respond, his door chimed. The high priestess entered, moving with the graceful precision that seemed natural to her species. Ambassador, forgive the interruption. There is something urgent we must discuss. Marcus gestured for her to sit on the crystal chair that had been provided. What's wrong? We have detected 3 battle fleets moving toward our system, she said, her antennae twitching with obvious distress. The Vorthan Empire, the Stellar Confederation, and the hegemony of Kess, they are positioning themselves at the edge of our space. Marcus felt his blood run cold. All 3 of those powers were known for their aggressive expansion policies. How long before they arrive? Perhaps 10 days. The High Priestess replied, They know we are weak. They have been watching us for months, waiting for the right moment to strike. Dr. Kim's image flickered on the communicator. Marcus, if those fleets attack, the Elaine won't be able to defend themselves. Their population is too small and too weakened by the genetic crisis. The High Priestess turned toward the communicator with surprise. Your people already know of our situation. Dr. Kim is our specialist in alien biology. Marcus explained. She's been helping me understand your proposal. Then she knows what we truly face, the High Priestess said sadly. We are not just asking you to save our species. Ambassador, we are asking you to prevent a war that could destabilize the entire galaxy. Marcus began pacing the room, his mind racing. Explain that to me. The Elaine control the most important hyperspace routes in this sector, Dr. Kim said. If those 3 powers fight over Elaine territory, it could trigger a galactic war. The High Priestess nodded. Our ancestors chose to settle here specifically. Because of the jump points, we became the peaceful guardians of galactic trade. But now our weakness makes us a target. What about your military? Marcus asked. Surely you have some defenses. We have never been a warlike people, the High Priestess explained. Our ships are designed for exploration and trade, not battle. We have perhaps 50 vessels that could be called warships. The approaching fleets have thousands. Marcus stopped, pacing and looked directly at the High Priestess. Would the marriage alliance really solve this problem? If humanity became our ally through the bonding ceremony, your fleets would be bound to defend us. She said, the 3 approaching powers would not risk war with Earth over our territory. Dr. Kim's image nodded. She's right, Marcus. Humanity has the largest fleet in the galaxy. Our defensive treaties are respected by everyone. But that would drag humanity into a potential conflict, Marcus said. My government would need to approve such an alliance. The High Priestess rose from her chair and walked to the window. Ambassador, there is something else you must know. The bonding ceremony must be performed willingly by all parties. If you agree only because of political pressure, it will not work. What do you mean? The life web responds to emotional truth, she explained. The ceremony requires genuine respect and understanding between the bonded individuals. It cannot be forced or faked. Marcus felt a new weight settling on his shoulders. So even if I agreed to help, I would need to you would need to truly accept us as family, the High Priestess said simply. The ceremony creates bonds that go beyond politics or strategy. It makes us connected in ways that will last for generations. Dr. Kim looked thoughtful. Marcus, I've been studying their culture for days now. The Elaine don't form casual relationships. When they bond with someone, it's for life. They're not just asking you to save their species. They're asking you to become part of their family. Marcus looked at the High Priestess, trying to see past her alien appearance to the individual underneath. What would happen to you personally if I said no? Her antennae drooped slightly. My sister and I would be the last queens of our people. We would watch our species slowly fade away, and then we would die knowing we failed to save them. And if I said yes, you would become the bridge between our peoples, she said, her voice growing stronger. Your children would carry human genetics, but they would also carry the knowledge of how to help us survive. The alliance would grow stronger with each generation. Marcus sat down heavily. I need to speak with my government. This decision affects all of humanity, not just me. Of course, the High Priestess said. But Ambassador, we may not have much time. The approaching fleets are not known for their patience. After she left, Marcus stared at Dr. Kim's image. Sarah, what would you do? I'm a scientist, not a diplomat, she replied. But I can tell you this, the Elaine are one of the most peaceful species in the galaxy. If we let them die, we lose valuable allies and probably trigger a war. If we save them, we gain friends who will remember our kindness for 1,000 generations. Marcus nodded slowly. And personally, what would this mean for me? You would become the most important human in galactic history, Dr. Kim said quietly. The first person to create a genetic alliance between species. But you would also be taking on a responsibility that no human has ever faced before. As Marcus prepared his report for Earth, he realized that the decision ahead of him would define not just his own future, but the future of humanity among the stars. The question was he ready to take that step? Marcus stood in the council chamber of the Elaine Palace, facing not just the Queen and High Priestess, but a gathering of their most important advisors. The crystal walls reflected the morning light, creating patterns that seemed to dance around the room. He had spent the entire night thinking about his decision, and now he was ready to present it. Your Majesty, Marcus began, his voice steady despite the nervousness he felt inside. I have considered your proposal carefully. I understand the desperate situation your people face, and I want to help. The Queen's antennae perked up with obvious hope. Then you accept our offer? Not exactly, Marcus said, and he saw the hope dim in her compound eyes. But I have a different proposal, one that might serve both our peoples better. The High Priestess leaned forward. What do you mean, Ambassador? Marcus activated his portable holographic display, showing a three-dimensional image of a laboratory instead of marriage. I propose we create a scientific partnership. Human geneticists working alongside Elaine bioengineers to develop a solution that doesn't require personal bonds. An elderly Elaine advisor clicked his mandibles, and what Marcus had learned was a sign of disagreement. Ambassador, our reproduction system cannot be changed. It has been this way for millions of years. I'm not suggesting we change your system, Marcus replied. I'm suggesting we work around it. Human science has solved genetic problems before. We've dealt with genetic bottlenecks in our own species' history. Dr. Kim's image appeared beside Marcus's display. Your Majesty, if I may explain, humans have developed techniques for genetic diversity that don't require biological bonding. We can create synthetic genetic sequences that could provide the diversity your species needs. The Queen exchanged glances with her sister. Synthetic genetics. We have never heard of such a thing. Because most species develop along single genetic paths, Dr. Kim explained. Humans are unusual. We've had to adapt too many different environments on our world. This forced us to develop genetic flexibility that other species don't have. Marcus stepped closer to the royal sisters. Your Majesty, I understand that my original answer might seem like a rejection, but I believe this approach could be even better than marriage. How so? The High Priestess asked. Marriage would link me to your people, but it would only help for one generation. Marcus explained. A scientific partnership could create a permanent solution that would help your species for thousands of years. The Queen rose from her throne and walked to the window overlooking the city. Ambassador, our people have tried scientific solutions for decades. Nothing has worked. But you haven't tried working with humans, Marcus said. We approach problems differently than other species. We don't just accept that something is impossible. We find ways to make it possible. Dr. Kim nodded. Your Majesty, human science is based on a simple principle. Every problem has a solution. We just need to find the right approach. An alarm suddenly echoed through the chamber. A young Elaine rushed in, his movements quick and agitated. Your Majesty, the Fourth Fleet has moved closer. They are now only 5 days away. The Queen's shoulders sagged. You see, Ambassador, we don't have time for long scientific experiments. The marriage ceremony could be completed in days. Your scientific approach might take years. Marcus felt the weight of the moment. Then we do both. We begin the scientific partnership immediately, and if it doesn't work quickly enough, we can still consider the marriage option. The High Priestess looked intrigued. Both approaches at once? Why not? Marcus said, his mind racing with possibilities. We set up a joint research facility. Human scientists work with your bioengineers. We share knowledge and techniques. Even if we can't solve the genetic problem immediately, the partnership itself might convince the approaching fleets to back down. The elderly advisor who had objected earlier spoke up. How would a research partnership stop warships? Because it would show that humanity is committed to helping the Elaine, Marcus explained. The other powers know that humans don't abandon their allies. If they see us working together, they might think twice about attacking. Dr. Kim's image brightened. Marcus is right. A joint research facility would be seen as the first step toward a formal alliance. The political implications alone might buy us the time we need. The Queen turned away from the window. And if the scientific approach fails, then we consider other options, Marcus said. But I have faith in human ingenuity. We've solved problems that seemed impossible before. The High Priestess stood up. What would you need for this research partnership? Access to your genetic databases, samples from your population, and a team of your best bioengineers, Dr. Kim replied. We would also need to bring in human scientists from Earth. How long would it take to set up? The Queen asked. We could have the facility operational within 3 days, Marcus said. My ship is fabrication equipment that could build a basic laboratory. Human scientists could be here within a week. The Queen looked at her sister, and Marcus saw silent communication passing between them. The Elaine had ways of sharing thoughts that humans were only beginning to understand. Very well, the Queen said finally. We will try your approach, Ambassador. But if the fleets arrive before we find a solution, then we deal with that problem when it comes, Marcus said firmly. But I believe this will work. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Marcus coordinated with his ship's crew to begin construction of the research facility. Dr. Kim worked with Elaine scientists to design the laboratory equipment. The Queen issued orders to her people to provide whatever assistance the humans needed. By evening, the basic structure of the facility was complete. It stood in a crystal garden near the palace, a strange blend of human technology and Elaine architecture. The building seemed to pulse with its own light, reflecting the cooperation between the two species. Marcus stood with the Queen and High Priestess, watching as the first human scientists arrived via shuttle. Your Majesty, I want you to know that this isn't just about saving your species. It's about proving that different peoples can work together to solve problems. The Queen's antennae moved, and what Marcus had learned was a gesture of gratitude. Ambassador, you have given us something we had lost. Hope. Hope is what humans do best, Marcus replied. We never give up, even when things seem impossible. The High Priestess pointed to the research facility. What happens if this works? What happens to the relationship between our peoples? We become partners, Marcus said. Not through marriage, but through mutual respect and shared achievement. That's a bond that can last for generations. As the first joint research session began, Marcus felt a strange sense of pride. This was what humanity did best. They didn't just solve problems. They brought people together to solve problems, whether the genetic research succeeded or failed. The partnership itself was already changing both species for the better. The Queen placed one of her hands on Marcus's shoulder. Thank you, Ambassador, for showing us that there are always more possibilities than we can see. Marcus smiled. Your Majesty, you haven't seen anything yet. when humans and Elaine work together. There's no limit to what we can accomplish outside the research facility. Glowed with activity as the species began their first joint scientific endeavor. The approaching fleets were still a threat, but for the first time in decades. The Elaine had reason to believe in their future, and Marcus knew that whatever happened next, humanity had just taken its first step toward becoming something greater than they had ever been before. The research facility hummed with activity as human and Elaine scientists worked side by side. Marcus watched through the observation window as Dr. Kim collaborated with Zara, the Elaine's lead bioengineer. Despite their different forms, they moved together with the easy rhythm of colleagues who understood each other perfectly. The genetic mapping is complete, Dr. Kim announced, her voice filled with excitement. We've identified the exact sequences that are causing the bottleneck. Marcus felt a surge of hope. It had been 5 days since the facility opened, and the approaching fleets were now only hours away. Can you fix it? Zara's mandibles clicked, and what Marcus had learned was the Elaine equivalent of a thoughtful pause. The problem is more complex than we first understood. The genetic weakness isn't just in our reproduction system. It affects our entire life web. What does that mean? Marcus asked. It means that even if we solve the immediate crisis, our species will face the same problem again in a few generations, Dr. Kim explained, unless we find a way to permanently strengthen their genetic diversity. Through the communication system, an urgent voice crackled. Ambassador Chen, this is Captain Rodriguez on the Earth ship Endeavor. The Fourth Fleet has entered the system. They're demanding to speak with you. Marcus felt his heart rate increase. Patched them through. The holographic display showed the bridge of a massive Vorthan warship. Commander Thax, a reptilian figure with scarred hide and cold eyes, stared at Marcus with obvious contempt. Human, Thax hissed. You are interfering with Vorthan interests. The Elaine territory belongs to us by right of conquest, Commander. The Elaine are still a sovereign species, Marcus replied calmly. They have the right to choose their own allies. Sovereignty? Thax laughed. A sound like grinding metal. They are weak and dying. We offer them quick death instead of slow extinction. The Queen appeared beside Marcus, her regal bearing. Unshaken despite the threat, Commander Thax, the Elaine people choose to ally with humanity. We ask you to respect our decision. Respect? Thax's eyes narrowed. You will have our respect when you surrender your worlds to us. You have 6 hours to evacuate your planet, or we will take it by force. The transmission ended, leaving the room in tense silence. Marcus looked at the Queen, seeing the fear she was trying to hide. Your Majesty, my ship is fast. We can evacuate the royal family and key scientists before the attack begins. No, the Queen said firmly. We will not abandon our people. If this is where our species ends, then we will face it with dignity. Marcus felt something stir inside him. This was what he had always admired about the Elaine. Their courage in the face of impossible odds. Then we fight. With what? The High Priestess asked as she entered the room. Our ships are no match for their battle fleet. We don't need to match them, Marcus said, his mind already forming a plan. We just need to delay them long enough for the research to succeed. Dr. Kim looked up from her workstation. Marcus, I need at least 12 hours to complete the genetic stabilization process. Maybe more. Then we buy you 12 hours, Marcus said. He activated his communicator. Captain Rodriguez, prepare the ship for battle and contact Earth Command. Tell them we need reinforcements. Sir, the nearest Earth fleet is 3 days away, Rodriguez replied. We're on our own. Marcus walked to the window overlooking the Elaine city. The crystal buildings pulsed with their usual peaceful light, but he could see the fear in the movements of the people below. Then we make our stand here. Suddenly, alarms began blaring throughout the facility. Zara's voice came over the communication system. High with panic. Security breach in Laboratory 7. Someone has destroyed the genetic samples. Marcus ran toward the laboratory, the Queen and High Priestess close behind. They found chaos inside. Equipment was smashed, computer screens shattered, and the carefully preserved genetic material scattered across the floor. Who could have done this? the Queen asked, her voice shaking. Dr. Kim knelt beside the destroyed samples, her face grim. This wasn't random vandalism. Someone knew exactly what to target. They destroyed only the most critical components. Marcus examined the wreckage, his diplomatic training helping him notice details others might miss. This was done by someone who understood both human and Elaine technology, someone who had access to the facility. A young Elaine scientist named Keth stepped forward nervously. Ambassador, I saw something strange earlier. One of our food suppliers was asking unusual questions about the research. What kind of questions? Marcus asked. About the genetic mapping process. About how long it would take to complete, Keth replied. I thought it was just curiosity, but now. The High Priestess's antennae twitched with sudden understanding. The food supplier. We've been using the same company for months. They would have had access to our people, our routines. Marcus felt pieces clicking into place. Someone's been poisoning your food supply. Not enough to kill, but enough to accelerate the genetic decline. Dr. Kim looked up from her analysis. Marcus. That would explain why the genetic crisis got worse so quickly. This wasn't natural evolution. It was sabotage. But who would do such a thing? The Queen asked. Someone who wanted your species to weaken, Marcus said grimly. Someone who was working with the approaching fleets. The revelation hit them all at once. The genetic crisis, the approaching fleets, the sabotage, it was all connected. Someone had been systematically destroying the Elaine species to make their conquest easier. We need to trace that food supplier, Marcus said. Find out who they're really working for. Within an hour, they had their answer. The food company was a front for Vorthan intelligence for months. They had been slowly poisoning the Elaine population with compounds designed to damage their genetic structure. This changes everything, Dr. Kim said. If we can neutralize the poison, we might be able to reverse some of the genetic damage. Marcus looked at the Queen and High Priestess. Your Majesty, your people aren't naturally dying. They're being murdered. But that means we can save them. The Queen's compound eyes blazed with anger. How long to develop an antidote? 6 hours. Dr. Kim said. But we'll need to work fast, as the research team threw themselves into developing the antidote. Marcus coordinated the defense of the planet. The Elaine ships, though small, were fast and maneuverable, combined with the human vessels. They might be able to delay the invasion long enough. Ambassador. Zara called from her workstation. We're getting unusual readings from the genetic samples. The human-Elaine compatibility isn't just about genetics. There's something else. What do you mean? Marcus asked. Your emotional bonds, she explained. The connections you've formed with our people. They're actually strengthening the genetic links. It's like your capacity for friendship and loyalty is somehow healing our life web. Dr. Kim looked amazed. Marcus. You've been the test subject all along. Your interactions with the Elaine have been proving that the alliance can work. Marcus felt a strange sensation, as if something was shifting inside his mind. What's happening to me? You're becoming the bridge, the High Priestess said softly. Not through marriage, but through genuine connection. Your human heart is healing our species. As the antidote neared completion and the enemy fleets approached, Marcus realized that they were about to discover something that would change the galaxy forever. The power of human empathy combined with Elaine wisdom was creating something neither species had imagined possible. The real battle was just beginning. The antidote worked faster than anyone had expected. Within 3 hours of its distribution, Marcus could see the change in the Elaine people. Their movements became stronger, their colors brighter. The slow death that had been consuming their species was finally reversed. The genetic readings are incredible. Dr. Kim announced from the research facility. Not only are we stopping the decline, but we're actually improving their genetic diversity beyond what it was before the poisoning began. Marcus stood on the palace balcony, watching as Elaine and human ships moved into defensive positions. Around the planet, the enemy fleets were less than an hour away. But for the first time since arriving on this world, he felt truly hopeful. Ambassador, the Queen said as she joined him on the balcony. Our people owe you a debt we can never repay. Your Majesty, We're not done yet, Marcus replied. We still have 3 battle fleets heading our way. The High Priestess appeared. Beside them, her antennae moving with excitement. But we have something they don't expect. We have proof of what they've done. Marcus nodded. The evidence of the Vorthan poisoning operation was overwhelming. Food shipments traced back to Vorthan suppliers. Chemical compounds designed specifically to damage Elaine genetics. Communication records showing coordination with the approaching fleets. Captain Rodriguez, Marcus spoke into his communicator. Are you ready to broadcast on all galactic frequencies? Ready, sir. The message will reach every major power in the galaxy. Marcus took a deep breath. This was the moment that would determine the future of both species. Send it. Across the galaxy, on thousands of worlds and hundreds of space stations. The same message began playing. Marcus's voice, calm but determined, spoke to the civilized universe. This is Ambassador Marcus Chen of Earth, speaking from the Elaine homeworld. For months, the galaxy has watched as the Elaine species faced extinction. What you haven't known is that this crisis was artificially created. The Vorthan Empire has been systematically poisoning the Elaine people to weaken them for conquest. The message continued, presenting the evidence, showing the genetic damage, revealing the conspiracy. But more importantly, it showed the cure working, the Elaine people recovering. In the successful partnership between humans and Elaine, the galaxy faces a choice. Marcus concluded, we can allow aggressive powers to destroy peaceful species for their own gain, or we can stand together to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Humanity chooses to stand with the Elaine. Within minutes, responses began flooding in from across the galaxy. The Stellar Confederation announced they were withdrawing their fleet and condemning Vorthan actions. The hegemony of Kess followed suit. Even some Vorthan commanders began questioning their orders. Commander Thax's face appeared on the communication screen, his reptilian features twisted with rage, human tricks, and lies. We will not be stopped by your propaganda. It's not propaganda when it's true. Marcus replied calmly. Commander, your own government is receiving evidence of the poisoning operation right now. How long before they decide you've become a liability? Thax's eyes narrowed. But Marcus could see uncertainty creeping in. The Elaine territory is ours by right. By what right? The Queen stepped forward. The right to murder innocent people? The right to destroy entire species? We offer strength. We offer order. Thax snarled. You offer death. The High Priestess said quietly, we choose life, as if responding to her words. Reports began coming in. From across the Elaine homeworld, the antidote wasn't just healing individuals. It was strengthening their entire life web. The network that connected all Elaine minds was becoming more powerful than it had been in centuries. Ambassador. Zara's voice came over the communication system. Something extraordinary is happening. The genetic healing process is creating new connections between our people and yours. Marcus felt it too, a strange warmth in his mind, as if he could sense the thoughts and feelings of the Elaine around him. Not reading their minds, but understanding their emotions, their hopes, their determination to survive. The bridge is forming, Dr. Kim said in wonder. Marcus, you're becoming a permanent link between our species, not through marriage, but through genuine friendship and mutual respect. Commander Thax's transmission was suddenly interrupted. As another Vorthan officer appeared on screen, Commander Thax, you are ordered to withdraw immediately. The Vorthan High Council has reviewed the evidence and found your actions to be unauthorized war crimes. But the plan Thax began. There was no plan. The officer cut him off. This was your operation, conducted without government approval. You are relieved of command. Marcus watched as the Vorthan fleet began to withdraw, their formation breaking apart as different commanders received new orders. Within hours, the threat that had seemed insurmountable was dissolving. How did this happen so quickly? The Queen asked. Because the galaxy is tired of bullies, Marcus explained. Most species want peace and cooperation. When they see evidence of unprovoked aggression, they stand against it. Dr. Kim's image appeared on the holographic display. Marcus, the genetic stabilization process is complete, but more than that. We've discovered something incredible. The human-Elaine connection isn't just helping them, it's changing us too. How so? Marcus asked. Human genetic adaptability is being enhanced by contact with the Elaine life web, she explained. We're becoming more empathetic, more intuitive. This partnership isn't just saving their species. It's evolving both of ours. The High Priestess placed one of her hands on Marcus's arm. Ambassador, you came here as a diplomat trying to prevent a crisis. But you've become something much more important. What do you mean? You've become the first member of a new kind of species, the Queen said. Neither fully human nor fully Elaine, but something that bridges both worlds. Marcus looked out at the crystal city below, where humans and Elaine were working together to rebuild what the poisoning had damaged. He could feel their satisfaction, their hope, their determination to build something better. What happens now? He asked. Now we show the galaxy what cooperation can accomplish, the Queen replied. The Elaine-Human Alliance will become a model for other species, a proof that different peoples can work together without losing what makes them unique. Dr. Kim nodded. The research facility is just the beginning. We're planning joint exploration missions, shared colonies, combined fleets for peacekeeping. And the genetic bridge you've created, the High Priestess added, will allow other humans to form similar connections with our people, not through ceremony, but through friendship and mutual respect. Marcus smiled as he watched a group of human children playing with young Elaine in the garden below. They had adapted to each other so quickly, finding ways to communicate that transcended species barriers. You know, he said, when I first received the marriage proposal, I thought it was the strangest diplomatic mission of my career. And now, the Queen asked. Now I realize it was the most important, Marcus replied. Not because of what you were offering, but because of what we discovered together. That the best alliances aren't built on contracts or ceremonies. They're built on understanding, respect, and the willingness to help each other become better. Then we could be alone, as the sun set over the crystal city, casting rainbow patterns across the sky. Marcus felt the warm presence of countless Elaine minds connected to his own. And beyond that, he could sense something even more wonderful, the growing network of human Elaine friendships that would spread across the galaxy, creating bridges between worlds and proving that cooperation was always stronger than conquest. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what both species had hoped for.